Hello and welcome to another Lakehead International Live. My name is Jordan, for those of you who haven't joined us before. Today we are doing another Faculty Friday with the Faculty of Business Administration, so we're very excited to be joined by a few special guests. To get started though, I'll introduce myself if you haven't joined in one of the many live events I've hosted over the past few months. My name is Jordan. I am the International New and Social Media Officer here on the Thunder Bay campus. I help oversee our social media channels, run live events, communicate with our future students, and quite a bit more. But I'll pass it over to Patrick Carr, one of our recruitment officers, to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Carr. I am one of the international recruitment officers here at Lakehead University. I typically work with students out of the Middle East, Africa, as well as the Caribbean. And I am happy to be here today to answer questions you may have about Lakehead University, what it's like to be a student here, and any other questions you may have, not only for students that I normally work with, but for all of the students around the globe who work with my colleagues.
Awesome, and thanks again for joining us, Patrick. We're excited to have you, and it's definitely great to have another resource to answer questions. Next, I'll pass over to Dr. David Richards, the Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration, to introduce himself.
Great, thank you, Jordan. My name is David Richards. I am the Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration.
Awesome, and then I'll pass it over to Dr. Claudio Pousa, an Associate Professor of the Faculty.
Thank you, Jordan. My name is Claudio Pousa. I am Associate Professor in the Marketing discipline at the Faculty of Business, and I am also coordinating all the graduate programs in business right now.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely excited to have both of you here, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your, I'm assuming, very busy schedules preparing for the fall semester to chat with our incoming students and chat more about the Faculty of Business. Without further ado, though, I'll start chatting about what we're going to do today, what we're going to cover. So we are going to do a broad overview of Lakehead University, a broad overview of the Faculty of Business Administration. We'll chat about program offerings, so both undergraduate program, graduate programs, unique learning opportunities within Lakehead University, some of our success stories, and then we also have the opportunity to chat about career outcomes, pathways to further education, as well as research opportunities. So we're very excited to dive into that. But before we begin, I want to remind all of our viewers, if you like what you're seeing, don't worry. We always send out a recording link to your email if you are part of our mailing list. That typically comes out early tomorrow. So we hope to send that email later on today. And if not, you can always check out our YouTube channel, Lakehead University. Head over to the playlist, Lakehead International Lives, and you'll see this live video in just a few hours here. If you do have any questions and you're joining us over on the Zoom platform, you can always use the Q&A function. If you're joining us on our Facebook live stream, you can certainly comment on that video and we'd be happy to answer. We do have Lakehead experts also behind the scenes that are helping us answer plenty of questions. And if you're watching this as a recording, either on Facebook or YouTube, if you comment on that video, we certainly will answer your question. We'll receive that notification. We'll be happy to get back to you. Last but not least, I always encourage our viewers to follow us on our social media, stay connected with us, learn about future upcoming webinars, future events to stay connected, but also major announcements out of the university and senior administration. We're typically posting on a regular basis there, giving you a sneak peek about how to prepare for your journey to Lakehead. So diving into things, I want to say welcome to Lakehead. We'll do a quick overview, as I mentioned. So something that we're really proud to chat about and something that we've been recognized for is our undergraduate research and research in general at our university. We have been for 5 consecutive years ranked as the #1 undergraduate research university in Canada, which is something that we're very proud, of course, to share with our audience and share with our students, as they are the main factor in that ranking. Also, we are ranked within Canada's top 10 universities in the primarily undergraduate field, which is another high regard compared to the fact that Canada has a plethora of universities and we are held to the high standards of everyone, and we are ranked quite strongly among them. And last but not least, of course, a ranking out of Times Higher Education is that we are among some of the top universities in the entire world. So again, when you look at that comparative scale for all of the universities in the world, which is thousands, we are ranked in the top among them all. So we're very proud of that. Of course, chatting about academics at Lakehead, I would be remiss not to mention the broad spectrum of our faculties. So you can see on your screen that we do have 10 faculties. The first one is business administration. Moving on, we'll have engineering, science and environmental studies, natural resources management, education, social sciences and humanities, health and behavioral sciences, law, medicine, and graduate studies. Of course, though, today we are here to chat about the Faculty of Business Administration, and we are joined by a few special guests, which I am happy to pass it over to Dr. David Richards now.
Great, thank you, Jordan. Yes, thank you, and it's a great pleasure to be here today and to talk about our programs and hopefully answer any questions you may have. Our Faculty of Business Administration at the Thunder Bay campus is accredited with AACSB, which is an international organization, and what we do with our accreditation is demonstrate through a number of standards that we offer a high quality program, and that our focus is really on engaging with our students and community, being innovative in our programming, and demonstrating that we're having a positive impact both on our students and on the communities where we're located. The Faculty of Business Administration does have business programming at both of our campuses in Thunder Bay and in Aurelia. Our Thunder Bay campus also has the accounting major, and we are accredited with CPA as well. So we're one of the a small group of Canadian universities that is accredited both with AACSB and CPA.
Awesome. And actually, I mean, being a graduate of the Faculty of Business Administration just last year, I was actually a student during the process of achieving this accreditation. And I know that the faculty went through a major process, and it's a massive review for the faculty, of course, because it's an internationally recognized accreditation. And they don't give it out to just anyone. So I know that they review the courses, they review the professors, the material being taught to make sure, of course, it's up to date, it's relevant, and it's held to a high standard. And with that, of course, we were able to achieve the accreditation, which I know the entire school is proud of, but more importantly, of course, both of you were probably involved in that process as well. So
the entire faculty was involved in the process, but certainly, yes, we had a big role in achieving that accreditation, and so we are very proud of that indeed, yes.
And then chatting a bit about the next slide, I'll pass it over to you to just chat about, I know this speaks more to the undergraduate programming and the foundational courses in business.
Yeah, so our programs are structured, our undergraduate programs are structured in a way that students come into first year, and for the first 2 years, we provide them with an opportunity to take courses in a number of different areas in business. And it's at the end of second year that students decide what their area of focus is going to be. So we do have a number of different majors at the Thunder Bay campus. We have accounting, business economics, finance, human resources, information systems, international business, general management, and marketing. And at our Aurelia campus, we have business administration and global entrepreneurship. And so, often students will come in and they're not sure of what area they want to focus in. And so by providing them with an opportunity to take courses in all areas, then they have an opportunity to discover what they're really interested in and what they're passionate about. And there's certainly opportunities to do majors, but also a minor or possibly a double major in 2 areas as well. And sometimes students will think they're interested in one area, and then they'll take courses they've never taken before and discover a new passion. So without really any disruption or in changing their minds, they have an opportunity to decide by their third year what they're going to major.
For sure, yeah. And speaking a bit more to that, speaking from the student experience of that, is I did complete my HB Comm, so Honors Bachelor of Commerce. For the first 2 years, I got the full breadth of all business foundational courses. I enjoyed all of them. Of course, though, I was able to narrow down and recognize that my passion lied within the marketing realm. And so then in third year, I really explored that. I took most of my courses. And then I came to fourth year and I realized that I had met most of my marketing requirements. And so I actually realized that I also wanted to pursue the human resources management and industrial relations minor. And so being able to combine both of those, obviously in my role today now allows me to have the marketing expertise that I need, but also the understanding of organizational behavior, human resources, managing people. And it's definitely, I think, gonna help me grow within my career and hopefully get me to that management level one day.
Well, and that's certainly true. A lot of our students do go on to leadership positions in organizations, and that business foundation is really valuable as for exactly the reasons you've said, that you have that expertise that enables you to lead people and to understand systems and understand budgets and all of those things that are required for management and leadership positions. So we'll also, I didn't comment that we also have a Bachelor of Business Administration degree, and that's a 3-year degree. Does not include a major, but for some students, they are interested in finishing a bit earlier and then pursuing other things.
For sure. So then moving on, I'll pass over to Dr. Pousa to chat about graduate programs.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this is kind of a continuation David mentioned before about most of our students moving into leadership positions. And well, attentive to that, we develop a number of graduate programs, basically for different audiences. In the left part of the screen, we have all the Master of Business Administration, which is a general degree, basically for people who are not from a business background. So we have a lot of students from engineering, arts, many different fields, who suddenly realize that in order to move to a more leadership position or the managerial position, well, they need to understand how business works. So that's why they take this Master of Business Administration. The basic program has 12 months, and we have a rather new, we are on the second iteration of a specialization on advanced studies in management, which adds one more term to this year of MBA. And for students who already have a business background, we have the Master of Science in Management, which is a more advanced scientific degree. Students read more scientific papers and they actually do their own research. And basically we prepare students for, I would say, 2 different options. One is perhaps pursue a PhD and get more involved in research. And in the case of students who would like to go back to industry, well, the Master of Science in Management gives them the tools to think as a high-level consultant. So basically, if they have any problem in a company, well, they have the tools to do a proper research and have solutions based on scientific knowledge. So those are the programs that we have. We also have a rather new program. It's an MBA with engineering, because again, in this search for giving students the opportunity to move into leadership positions, while many of the engineering students, well, they start working in engineering projects, but eventually they need to lead teams and move into more managerial positions. So they need a broad understanding of how business works.
For sure. And also, I know that with the graduate business program specifically, you have a very diverse incoming group of students from all sorts of different majors and different disciplines. I've heard from many students. I have one of my closest friends who's doing the Masters of Science in Management right now, where she's involved or she knows people within the graduate level of Faculty of Business Administration that come from even psychology, and they express the fact that their realm is still well within psychology, but they understand that they also potentially want to open their own practice one day, might want to run their own business to their specialty. So you could be a graduate of history and arts, of visual arts, and then recognize the fact that you also need the business skills and those foundations to then be successful in the business world and understand the general concepts, of course. And then with some of these more advanced programs or more specialized programs, there's definitely opportunities. And I also know that we do offer a few certificates and graduate diplomas. I know they're not listed on the screen, but could I pass it back to both of you to chat a bit about those?
Sure. So we do have a couple of undergraduate certificate programs in entrepreneurship in Thunder Bay and global entrepreneurship in Aurelia. And the intention with the certificate programs is to provide students who are in a non-business degree program or someone who has finished a degree program in a non-business area, for them to take select business courses. And often it is, as you had mentioned already, Jordan, because they're interested, they have a degree in another area, being healthcare and science or social sciences, and they're interested in starting a business or taking a leadership position within a business in that field. And those certificate programs provide them with an opportunity to acquire some of the knowledge and skills that they need. The graduate diploma in accounting is part of our accounting program, and it is a one-term diploma program for graduates of a business degree with an accounting majors. So students who are eligible, which is part of the CPA accreditation, they can take our program, and then they are only required to do 2 capstone modules with CPA, and then they're eligible to write the common exam.
Awesome, and we do have a question from Pierre. It is the business certificate program open to international students that may not be enrolled in another program at Lakehead? So I guess more directly, can international students simply enroll in a certificate?
Our certificate programs are, typically either a student would do the certificate while they're doing their degree and get both, and an international student or a domestic student are both eligible to do that. If someone already has a degree in another area, then a student can do the certificate as a post-degree credential. But you would need to have either be doing the degree or have the degree to do the certificate.
Okay, and we do have another question. I know this is a more admissions related question, so we certainly might have to connect with Pierre offline, but I'll pass it over to you, David. It is, if a student registers for the engineering MBA program, does he or she need to apply for the MBA upon graduation from engineering? If so, does she need to or he need to present a GMAT or GRE?
Yeah, so the program is not a typical, it is not our typical program where somebody would have their undergraduate degree and then apply to the MBA program. A student will come and take 3 years of engineering, of the engineering undergraduate program. And then after the 3rd year and before the 4th year, they need to activate or register that they're intending to continue into the 4th year of that combined program. And in their 4th and 5th years of the program, they take engineering and MBA courses. So there's an opportunity for them to integrate the knowledge in those two areas. There is a requirement prior to starting the MBA courses to meet the admission requirements of the MBA program, which could potentially require a GMAT, although a student who has had strong academic performance in their first three years of the engineering may be eligible for a GMAT waiver. Those cases are considered.
Sure. So
there are different options.
It comes down to more of an individual case-by-case basis where our admissions team and the Faculty of Business Administration would evaluate their performance in their undergraduate engineering courses, and then, as you mentioned, moving into that fourth and fifth year where they will be completing both. Of course, you said it could go both ways. We might waive it depending on how successful they were previously, or it might be a requirement they have to complete. But I also know that working through those processes, there's assistance available too. So chatting a bit about some of the unique learning opportunities, and I do want to note, I know, David, you have to head out here quite shortly.
I will need to leave, yes. And I still have a few minutes, but yeah.
Okay. If you have to duck out while we're speaking, I want to thank you in advance for joining us. Otherwise, I hope maybe I can say goodbye when you do eventually head out here. Before we do that, though, I want to pass it over to chat about the Cooperative Advantage with Lakehead University, and more specifically some of the programs. So a Cooperative Advantage is 4 to 16-month work terms that are available to students enrolled in select programs at Lakehead that provides them with real-life working experience as well as a paid opportunity. We know that on average, students earn between $20 to $25 while working, and they work full-time hours typically during their co-op term. And we also have over 140 national and international partners. Here now on the screen, I have listed a few of our more business-centric partners, as well as some of the major partners that we've had and seen our students go to. So that includes IBM, Hydro One, BlackBerry, Royal Bank of Canada, Grant Thornton, HSBC. These are just to name a few. Of course, as I mentioned, we have over 140. And that's not limited either. It was something really great about the cooperative education program is that if you find a co-op that you're extremely interested in, our co-op advisor, and I'm sure with the support of the faculty as well, would be happy to help you with that application to any program or any company that, of course, suits the requirements of co-op in general. Did you have anything to add, David or Claudio?
Yeah, I think the co-op options are available at both of our campuses in different majors. So there are 5 majors that have the co-op option in Thunder Bay, and there are 2 majors in Australia that have a co-op option. Yeah, and so students typically go possibly during the summer, but typically they do their co-op between 3rd and 4th year, returning to campus in their, which would then be the 5th year, but after that co-op experience, and have an opportunity to integrate what they've learned on their co-op and take that experience and apply it in their courses in their final year.
For sure, and something I know we've seen in general across many co-ops is the fact that once students who complete it, for example, in their 3rd year, they go back to their full-time courses for their final year of their undergraduate degree, for example, while still working part-time as a different employment contract, and then potentially have full-time enrollment or employment, pardon me, lined up for after graduation, which is really exciting to hear.
Yeah. Yes. And certainly our students do have a very high employment rate. Often our students will have jobs before they finish they have jobs, full-time jobs lined up before they finish their studies.
Yes. I was one of the students fortunate enough to know a few months out before graduation that I would have a full-time job. So definitely eased me a bit. So I was more confident in completing the courses. Of course, I was still striving to reach my academic goal and having that certain grade point average. But at the end of the day, I knew that I was lucky enough to have a job lined up and ready to step right in. I finished my classes on a Thursday and I started full time on the Monday. So it was a quick transition, but I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, so in addition to co-op, we have some other opportunities for experiential learning in the faculty. And one of them certainly is, although this is not technically part of our faculty, it's open to all students across the university. There is the Ingenuity Center, which is an entrepreneurship and innovation center that is in our new CASES building. But certainly our faculty is involved in supporting the activities that occur within Ingenuity. And so we have had students and have supported students in starting their own business, sometimes while they're students or sometimes in planning for what they're going to do after they graduate. And within Ingenuity, there's also a maker space with 3D printers and laser cutters. And so students have access to that resource. There's also a digital or a media studio as well as part of Ingenuity. So as well as hot desks that can be rented or used by student entrepreneurs, and a few offices as well, so that will help the students launch their businesses. We also have a program called the Work Integrated Learning Program. This is funded by and sponsored by RBC's Future Launch Program. And this is an alternative to a traditional co-op experience. It involves a part-time work placement during the school year, as well as a workshop series. There's a mentorship component. The objectives of this program are to provide students with opportunities to develop those, to develop and apply those skills that they are going to need to be successful after they graduate. And we also have a number of students who go each year on international exchanges. We have students who come to Lakehead University on an exchange, and we've had students who've gone around the world: Japan, Korea, Finland, Germany, Sweden, England, Australia, and there are others as well, but those are the ones I remember from recent memory. And that's a really great opportunity for students to have that experience, but taking courses that they can use towards their degrees. So going on an exchange doesn't set you back in your studies. It's a really nice
yeah. And speaking to this photo here, this is a student that went to Finland, if I'm not mistaken, Metropolia University. And she had the opportunity to also as well, on top of still pursuing an entire term in Finland and still achieving her credits for the business, the Honors Bachelor of Commerce program, she also got to explore Europe, make some great connections, meet some amazing people. And this is actually one of my close friends. So it's a nice joke for me to kind of put her in here, and I always tell her she's going to be on one of my webinars, but I really like chatting about her experience. Although I wasn't able to go on one, she certainly shared her stories with me and how much she loved it and the opportunities that she was able to partake in there, which were really exciting. So chatting a bit about our success stories, I know, David, you might have to head out here. So here is a photo of an accounting team that went to the Achieve conference and actually placed within the conference, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a national conference. You might be able to add on to it.
Yeah, this is a conference at Ryerson University, but it's a national conference. And in 2018, our students came in first. This year, our team placed second. And that's just one example of case competitions that our students have participated in and we often have our teams placing well within those competitions. And our Enactus team actually last year placed second in the regional, which is Ontario, and also second in the national competition for the projects that they did. And Enactus is an international organization with a chapter at Lakehead University, and they apply principles of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship to contribute positively to communities. And they won their award for the projects that they were doing last year. They've also added a new project this year, and they received an award from the cooperators with some funding to actually execute their new project, which is a peer support program for international students.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, when they arrived at regional competition, when their plane landed, the competition was canceled due to COVID. So we're looking forward for them we're looking forward to next year where they're going to actually hopefully be able to.
And they can showcase kind of their findings and their research. And I know in this case, it was about financial literacy, and more specifically in Northwestern Ontario. And it speaks to the impact that the Faculty of Business Administration can have in both of our local communities, whether it be Orillia, Simcoe County, or Thunder Bay, or Northwestern Ontario. It speaks to how all these projects, all these research opportunities really have an impact on communities, but also local organizations and local companies and our community partners also. So then chatting about career opportunities, I know on the screen these are some very general careers where students can move into from whether they complete a certain undergrad in HBCom with a marketing specialist or a marketing major, pardon me, or if they do maybe the Masters of Science in Management. These roles listed on the screen are just a broad overview. It's certainly not an exhaustive list of the opportunities on there. Maybe I'll pass it over to either one of you to chat about these.
Well, if I can just say something, I think our as I mentioned earlier, our students have a very high success rate in finding employment after, sometimes before, but certainly after graduation. And I think there's a great deal of diversity within the field where our students work. Some go into the private sector, some go into the public sector, the nonprofit sector, and take either marketing or human resources or working on the finance or accounting side of those businesses. So, and a lot of our students are very creative and launch their own business as well, or came to do a business degree so that they could advance a family business. So there's lots of opportunities, and and I think as we move ahead, there are going to be jobs on this list in a few years that don't even exist right now.
For sure, yeah. And I know our institutional analysis department here at Lakehead, which is essentially the department at Lakehead that does all of this research to kind of determine exactly how successful our graduates are upon graduation. And I know it was recently announced that within the first year of graduation, 80% of our graduates are employed. And then within the first 2 years of graduation, 100% of them have been employed in the most recent years. So I think that adds on to your mention of the successfulness of our graduates in finding employment. And as you mentioned, obviously, some of these jobs on this list here could potentially become obsolete or see significant changes. But I also know that this list would continue to diversify and grow and expand too.
And I think one of the values of business education from Lakehead is that we prepare our students for many different options. And so those careers, the knowledge, skills, and ability that our students leave the program with are highly translatable into a variety of different areas. And that was the point I wanted to make. Yeah.
Awesome. So I do have on the screen one of our outstanding alumni. So this is Peter Lau, who is a graduate of the Business Administration program. And he is the founder of Asia One Communication Group, one of the top 5 commercial printing houses in Hong Kong. He is the winner of the Outstanding SME Social Responsibility Award from the Mirror Post in 2015. And when we had reached out to Peter and asked him about his Lakehead experience, you can see the direct quote from him on the screen here. So my school life in Canada was a good training in terms of independence and leadership. And I know that that speaks to some of the topics that we've covered today in our session. And he also said that it laid the foundations for his career in the business world. So having the aspects and having the knowledge of so many different majors and fields of study, but then of course focusing on one at the end of it in the Honors Bachelor of Commerce situation. And then he also said studying in a Canadian Northern University was completely beyond my childhood imagination and planning. And I know that he elaborated further on this and just said that the beauty of our Thunder Bay campus and the access to nature and the opportunities that you have to get involved with the community here is really a unique experience. And we always say it's a truly Canadian experience because we have the best of all 4 seasons. And so this speaks to kind of his experience here at Lakehead. So I want to open the floor to some more questions at this point. I know, David, you will have to head out quite soon here for sure. But we certainly have Claudio Pousa, who is also the graduate coordinator for the Faculty of Business Administration. So if we do have any of our audience members who are pursuing that graduate level course this fall or these upcoming terms, this is your chance to have a one-on-one with Claudio in a sense.
And I would like to thank Jordan and Patrick and Zach and the rest of the team for giving us this opportunity to come out and talk about our program. And thank you very much. And I will slip out now.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks again for joining us, David.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to flip over to the Q&A just to see if we've received any questions. Doesn't look like we've received any quite yet. So I'll remind everyone, if you're on our Zoom webinar right now, through the actual platform itself, you can use the Q&A function to submit questions. If you're over on our Facebook live stream, you can certainly submit questions by commenting on that video, and our Lakehead experts behind the scenes will answer those. And once again, if you're watching this as a recording, whether it be a Facebook live recording or our YouTube video, you can certainly still comment on the video and we'll receive the notification and get back to you in a timely manner. In the meantime, I'll chat a bit about our social media and we can certainly dive into this. So I do encourage all of our viewers, to follow us on our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. For those of you watching from China, we're also on Weibo, WeChat, and Youku. Diving into our Facebook page, though, we do have a group started. So the page is Lakehead University International, but the group is the incoming class of 2020. That group has already over 350 future students that are going to be joining us in 2020. And there's great conversations happening over there. So whether it's looking for a potential roommate, finding future classmates, meeting people already in your hometown. So you would be surprised to know about how many people from your hometown or your region have also applied and will be joining Lakehead. So it's an opportunity for you to meet them, connect with them, and potentially have a friendship or a relationship established before you even join Lakehead. I'm gonna head over to the Q&A. I saw something pop up. Claudio, the question is for an MBA program. Is there a co-op option available for our MBA program?
We have the WIL program, the Work Integrated Learning, that works also for MBA students. And we have quite a number of interesting projects. Some of them are confidential, but we have, well, some of the students that you saw in that Nactus photo, they are participating in projects locally. Not only with private companies, but also with non-for-profit groups. You also have to remember that we are in a territory with a relatively large indigenous population. So in many cases, or I remember one particular case where one of these indigenous groups contacted us to develop a strategic plan and a tactical plan and an operational plan for their non-for-profit. So in that case, for example, we selected a number of students from the MBA program to work with us. And actually they work, and we meet with them and we supervise them to give them the experience of acting as consultants for an organization.
For sure. And also speaking a bit about that, I know that there's also even paid research opportunities with some of our faculty members where students who are pursuing their degree or even potentially leading up to their degree, finish their degree, they could still be working with our faculty members in pursuing further research opportunities. And then typically that funding comes from many levels of government, many different external organizations internally from Lakehead. So it's a combination of many factors that go towards that research. But I know that even one of my close friends that I met through the business program is conducting some research this year with Dr. Kathy Sanderson, and she'll be doing some more research with the immigration pilot for Northwestern Ontario and welcoming people that are living in Northwestern Ontario. So that's a very exciting opportunity for her. And I know she'll be moving into her then master's program after that.
Yeah, and if I may add something, well, as you say, many of us, we hold research grants. So usually we work that with our master students. We also have a research center attached to the graduate program, the CEAR. This is Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation Research. And Dr. Mike Dohan is the director of that center. And basically they also have funding, and they have access to certain technology and databases in order to do research on business analytics, information systems, and how information are driving businesses nowadays.
Awesome. And then chatting a bit about some more social medias here. Well, we'll wait to see if we receive any more questions. We're also on Instagram, so Lakehead International. If you head over there every Tuesday and Thursday for the past few months now, I've actually been doing an Instagram live, meeting up with a student from Lakehead, so whether it's a current student or an alumni, and we chat about their journey to Canada, their Lakehead experience, their academics, student life, accommodations, whether they lived on campus, off campus, how they got involved in clubs and different associations and groups. Some of the conversations were really great, and it gave insight into how students from all over the world, what their journey was like and what their experience been like. So I certainly encourage you to check those out on our IGTV, as well as our YouTube channel. We are wrapping those up as we transition to hosting more webinars as we welcome new students, as we prepare to welcome new students in the next upcoming term. We're also on Twitter, Lakehead INTL, and as I previously mentioned, we're on YouTube, Lakehead University. We do have 2 dedicated playlists to our international audience members. So the first one is Lakehead International. It's a great playlist to get a broad overview of Lakehead University, hear some testimonials from our students, learn more about our programs. And then of course, the Lakehead International Live Series playlist, which is all of our live events over the past, a couple of years at least, that are posted there and published so that you can actually watch it a second time as a recording, or if you had to head out early, or if you joined late, you can certainly catch up on what you missed. And we'd be happy to answer questions if you do comment on those videos. So we do have another question, and it's a question from Sahil. You discussed about entrepreneurship activities in campus. Is there any dedicated startup incubators where startup ideas is evolved and there's funding available to help? Could you shed some light on that, Dr. Pousa?
Yes, we have this Ingenuity group, which basically works as a business incubator. They have a specific place where students can hang out. They have resources, offices, computers, the 3D printers, and they regularly, once or twice a year, they organize events, kind of a hackathon or events, for example, that last for a weekend, whole weekend, starting on Friday, going on Saturday, and finishing on Sunday. And in these events, the students or people who have an idea, they can arrive on Friday with their idea. And basically the goal is that they will leave on Sunday with their business plan already developed. So they brainstorm their idea. In many cases, we professors, we go over a weekend and they bounce ideas with us. We suggest how to develop a strategic plan or however. So by Sunday, they already have a business plan quite, at least a draft, quite well defined. So with that business plan, they can start looking for funding and looking for partners and kind of kick off their idea.
For sure, and I know that many of these, the opportunities that you spoke about, where, for example, if they're over the weekend, and it's a formal competition style, where they actually will then get to present to a panelist of judges that are both combined of local entrepreneurs and local business partners, but also highly regarded business people within the business world. And then if they are selected as some of the top ranking groups or presentations, they also have the potential to receive funding from there through the competition. I know that's not in every case, and it varies for each competition or each opportunity. And some of those opportunities are also listed on our website. If you would be interested, you can head over to lakeheadu.ca, and once you're there at the search bar, you can search Ingenuity. And once you're there, you will actually be landed on their page to Ingenuity, and they have more details about some of their past competitions, some of their previous winners, all that sort of stuff. So at this point, I know we haven't received any questions, but we've covered so much detail. We've gone through the full faculty. We've gone through all the programming, all the unique learning opportunities. It's really exciting. One last thing I would like to remind our viewers before we wrap up today is if you are interested in taking a virtual campus tour, meaning if you would like to explore the buildings, if you would like to explore the surrounding environment, the beautiful campuses that we're on, both in Thunder Bay or Aurelia, you have all the power to do that. If you head over to lakeheadu.ca/tours, you can check out that virtual campus tour. You can do it from the comfort of your own home, most importantly. Also, there are no appointments necessary. There's no cost associated with it. It's something that we provide to all of our students. And you can do it at your own pace too. So if you choose to do half of the Thunder Bay campus today, wrap up the rest of Thunder Bay tomorrow, and then finish off Aurelia in a few days, if you want to explore both of our campuses, you have all the power to do that. And I certainly encourage you to do it, because I think once you see where we get to learn each and every day and where we get to work in our cases, you'll also be sold, or at least you'll be very intrigued, because we're quite lucky to have such an amazing campus, both in Thunder Bay and Aurelia. Without further ado, though, I'll wrap it up here. I want to thank you, Dr. Pousa, for joining us. It was great chatting with you, reconnecting. He was actually one of my professors a few years back. And of course, to Dr. David Richards, that's headed out early. Thank you for joining us. And to our audience members, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate the questions and the communication and presenting to our friends and our future students. And as always, last but not least, Patrick, thank you for joining us. I know that you've been on these webinars with me for many months, and as we continue into the summer, you might see us disappearing for our holidays, so it might be Patrick chairing or me chairing again without Patrick, but we're definitely excited to cover more sessions. So thank you again for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week for our Monday meetup with the International Advisors team, where you will get to meet the team, the entire team that you will work with this upcoming fall on a regular basis. So thanks again for joining us, and bye for now.